Morning. My name is Rainey Dewey. My name is really Lorraine, but I've been called Rainey for forever. A nickname that came from my dad, from what I understand. Okay, so today I'm in my studio, and I've got to do a cartoon for my son, Jonathan Geiswitz. He runs his own business, JG Designs, and I've been doing some cartoons for him, and they're kind of fun. So let's get started. Hopefully from start to finish. We'll see. I got to finish it today, so all right, let's flip you around and see how it goes. Okay, it's time to get started. With my cartoons, I usually, of course, start with an idea, something I think is funny, and then I will use photo reference. When Jonathan was here a couple of weeks ago, we took some photographs of him in various poses. I'm the type of person that I need to see it. I can't just conjure it in perspective out of my head. So I do use a photo reference. So this is going to be a cartoon about Jonathan mowing the lawn. So I'll do a sketch, which I'll start in a minute. And then what I will typically do is transfer the drawing onto watercolor paper. Now I use Arch's cold press watercolor paper almost all the time. I have tried other things, but always revert back. So I'll end up with a larger sheet. A lot of times I'll buy a full sheet. And in this case, I just bought a book. And then for my cartoons, I'll tear it in half. So this is a 10 by 14 sheet of paper, torn in half. So I just do, you know, that method that we did as kids, where you fold it, and you fold it, and you fold it, and then you tear it. I like to do it that way rather than using scissors because I like the irregular border. And then before I begin, I'm going to tape this piece of watercolor paper on to my board. The side of the paper, you can use both sides of the paper, but I like to use the smoother side. I think that's the side they probably have it designed to use, but I like less texture on my papers. And then I'm going to tape the whole thing onto my piece of plexiglass. This little piece of plexiglass, I got it at the hardware store. And the reason you tape the whole thing all the way around is because when you begin painting using watercolor, and if you do a lot of really wet washes, your paper will buckle a little bit, and sometimes a lot of it, and this will control that in such a way that once the paint and paper dry, it will dry flat. If you don't have it taped down, you could end up with a weighty surface. So my paper's ready, and now I just got to get sketching. When I begin a cartoon, I will take out my sketchbook. A sketchbook is a great place to try things, take notes, and if you're not completely comfortable with the subject, to do a few little renderings just to get a sense of it before you jump right into the watercolor paper. With the cartoons, they're a little more forgiving, so I'll go onto my watercolor paper without an exact drawing, and you'll see I got a sense of it from my sketchbook, and so here I am trying to put in a little bit more details, like the background and so forth. When I'm doing the sketch onto the watercolor paper, if I make mistakes, I'll use a kneaded eraser or that rubber eraser they're pretty easy on the watercolor paper surface, so I can feel free to do that. The next step is outlining my drawing with a Micron pen. They're waterproof, so when I start to apply watercolor to the surface, they don't bleed into the watercolor, so it stays pretty clean for that cartoon type subject. I'm getting ready here to do some outlining with the Micron pens. I've got my sketch pretty well established, and this is where I choose the lines that I want to keep, and I'll eliminate the other ones later. The nice part about doing cartoons is you do have some flexibility. If you goof up a little bit, it's not a big deal. Sometimes your goof ups can be charming, and I'm going with that. This is the back of my house. I have a little art room in the back. Jonathan was listening to the Grateful Dead when he was mowing the lawn. And we've got a lot of big trees where the roots are really high to the surface, so he couldn't hear that he was skimming some roots. The next step is removing the excess pencil lines with a kneaded eraser, and I'm going to apply some masking fluid. Once the masking fluid's dry, then you can begin to paint. The masking fluid is, the purpose for that is you're saving your white areas. So I can do washes around. I don't have to do washes around the picket fence because I have that masking fluid that I'll remove later. It's a rubbery type substance that dries, and once I'm finished doing washes over it and it's completely dry, I'll be removing that masking fluid, and then you'll have a nice white picket fence. So this is kind of a fun, the cartoons are fun because you can use bright colors, and you can just kind of play. You can play with doing controlled washes and using interesting color combinations. Really enjoy experimenting, and especially with the outfits that I put Jonathan in his cartoons. He's very stylish, so he always has some great stuff that he wears. But a lot of times I'll put him in tie-dyes. And he's got a great shoe collection, so whatever I do is never quite as fancy as the actual shoes that he has. He has some cool ones. He's got some great tattoos, so I always try to put my mom tattoo on his arm or someplace. I think I've only missed 1 or 2 times putting a mom tattoo on there. And so I try to put goofy little sayings, a lot of little details, just because I love to do details. These are all just controlled washes. You're trying to give things a roundness and make it interesting. It's fun. It's actually quite therapeutic. And there's that Grateful Dead bolt, that thunderbolt. I do have things I'm not comfortable doing, so this has kind of pushed me out of my comfort zone. I don't usually do people when I do my normal work. This is the removal of the masking fluid. See, I do it with that rubber eraser in there. The picket fences are white. There's my shed. My shed isn't completely painted. in real life, but I thought I'm having it painted in my cartoon. It was great having him home, and he did a lot of work in the yard. So that is that. It's finished. Thanks for watching.